What's going on? Vincent Rapsardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com. Thank you to those who've liked, commented, subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to turn the notification bell on so every time I post, you get a notification. You come join in on the conversation. So recently I've done a couple of videos about Joe Judge. Yesterday I did a video about Darnay Holmes. Talked about Evan Ingram, Dexter Lawrence, Will Hernandez as well. In this video I want to start out by talking about Alex Bachman. Bachman was an undrafted free agent last year out of Wake Forest, signed with the Los Angeles Rams, then joined the Giants practice squad later in the year. According to Jordan Reynaud of ESPN, he's been impressive. He just makes plays. That's what Reynaud said. He just makes plays. As you can see here, the diving catch. It's interesting. Right now the Giants have their three wide receivers locked in. They have Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, and Golden Tate. And then it looks like Corey Coleman, Reynaud has said, looks explosive. He looks good from the knee injury that he had last year that cost him the entire year. So it looks like they have four receivers that they can probably trust at this point. And now you have Bachman, you have David Sills, who's also apparently been impressive during camp. You have Benjamin Victor, who many people were high on when the Giants signed him as an undrafted free agent. Derek Dillon also in the mix. So a lot of young, interesting wide receiver options. And this is something I put out on Twitter. And it is kind of extreme and it's just kind of for fun. But is Alex Bachman the next Victor Cruz or the next Corey Washington? I'm just putting it out there. It's a fun thing to talk about. Have no idea if he's even going to make an impact at all, if he's even going to make the team. But so far, a lot of people have liked what they've seen from him during camp. And it's really a shame for these young players, these roster bubble kind of players, that they don't get preseason. They don't get a Victor Cruz opportunity, right? They don't get those preseason games that could make or break a player's career. I mean, they really could, to actually play in actual games. So that's kind of a question I want to put out there. Do you think that Alex Bachman could be the next Victor Cruz or the next Corey Washington and kind of be nothing after impressing during camp and preseason? So another player I want to talk about is Leonard Williams. Now, Leonard Williams entered camp. He had a hamstring injury, so immediately people were kind of down on him. Many Giants fans were not happy that he wasn't given a contract extension. They don't like his high franchise tag. So again, the negative stories, the negative tweets about Leonard Williams. Wow, this is a disaster for Dave Gettleman and all that. But according to Matt Lombardo, Leonard Williams has been very disruptive and has caused trouble for Giants blockers during camp so far. Now, I feel like the story is kind of getting lost a little bit, and this coming from Matt Lombardo too is interesting because Matt Lombardo is not a Dave Gettleman fan, clearly. He did not like the Leonard Williams trade, clearly. So for him to offer any praise when he could have clearly overlooked it, right? He didn't have to talk about it. Especially, it doesn't seem like a lot of beat writers are really praising Leonard Williams for his great camp. You've seen some quotes here and there, but there really doesn't seem to be like this overwhelming praise for a player who has apparently been very disruptive and is creating havoc on the football field. So for Matt Lombardo to praise Leonard Williams, it probably means that Leonard Williams is playing even better than that. This is a video I did earlier in the offseason about Leonard Williams, kind of debunking the myth that he's not this good football player, he's just average. Williams only had half a sack in 2019, but he finished with 23 quarterback pressures and 16 quarterback hits. He actually had more quarterback hits and quarterback pressures than DeForest Buckner. And since entering the league, he's had more quarterback hits than Fletcher Cox, Grady Jarrett, Eric Armstead, Geno Atkins, and Cameron Hayward. He also has more quarterback hits over the course of his career than Dante Fowler and Bud Dupree combined. Last year, he ranked second among interior defensive linemen in quarterback knockdowns. The year before that, he ranked fourth. Williams was also one of 5 interior defensive linemen last year who had at least 23 quarterback pressures and a missed tackle percentage of less than 10%. So not only did he rush the passer well, but he was also a good tackler, which likely means that he also played the run very well. As I've mentioned before, the Giants finished 5th in expected points added, also known as EPA, against the run last year. You'd have to think Williams had something to do with that. So I'll end the video on this. I recently talked about how I think that the current situation with limited off-season activity, no preseason games, it could hurt defenses and help offenses, just judging by what we saw with the lockout back in 2011, a bunch of quarterbacks throwing for over or around 5,000 yards. So what I will say is be patient with the Giants defense, especially early in the season. New defensive coordinator, young secondary, no matter how talented they are in the secondary, a lot of young players, right? And you lose DeAndre Baker, Sam Beal opts out, they're a little bit thin at the position. So I would say just be patient. I don't think it's going to be easy early on. New defensive coordinator, young secondary, some new pieces here and there. it might be a rough start for their defense. I think the offense will be fine, even in a new system with Jason Garrett. I still think they will be able to put up points. But new coordinator, young secondary, like I said, that is not a recipe for success with no preseason games, right? There's no preseason games. This whole COVID situation has made it tough. So that's all I got. Vincent Rappisardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com. Thank you to those who've liked, comment, and subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to turn the notification bell on so you get notifications every time I post. And follow me on Twitter, @Vince Rappisardi. Thanks again, Victor Rappisardi, BigBlueUnbiased.com.